Welcome and hello, this is Mr. Kitzmiller again today. We are looking at our next level of dices. We have a small dice, which we talked about in a previous video, which came from a bâtonnet cut French fry. It's 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Today we're going to be looking at a medium dice, which is a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. And then a large dice, which is 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch. Today we're going to use a potato. We're going to show you how to peel this. We looked at doing a carrot before, so I want to show you how to peel a potato. I am using the same exact peeler, the floating peeler. The blade is designed to be loose, and I'm going to peel it the same way I did a carrot. I'm going to just use this blade right here, and I'm going to put it in a container so we don't use it. Lose or make a mess with the peelings. There's no need to keep these peelings for anything. You just let the blade do the work for you. You can do short or long, depending on how bumpy your potato is. Again, on potatoes, a lot of times, some people will actually, on baked potatoes, you can leave the skin on. We talked about in our sweet potato video that people don't normally utilize the skin from a sweet potato. It's just not as tender. But on a baked potato, leaving a little bit of skin or all the skin on can be acceptable. Just depends on your preference, what you're going for. If I was doing a soup, if I was maybe a chowder, I might go where I wanted all the skin completely off. If I was doing something a little more rustic, say maybe a chicken noodle soup, I might want to leave the skins on, or a part of them. Now you see this black mark right here? That's exactly what the end of this little peeler is for. Take that, dig it around. Just go right around and pull it right out. And you get all these little divots out. Some of these don't matter, but the big black dots, I like to get out. I don't like to have black dots on my potatoes. They can have a bitter taste to it. It's not real hard to get them out. Sometimes if you've got one end of the potato that's just pretty nasty, you can cut the whole thing off. Sometimes you can just shave off the black spots. Okay, so we've got that cleared out of the way, and we're going to start with a medium dice. Now, with this right here, typically if I'm doing a medium dice, it's going to be something, it's going to be a little bit larger. So we don't have to be quite as precise depending on what we're going for. But again, I'm going to want to do the same thing that I did with the carrots. I'm going to want to get to a point where I can square it off. So I am going to start by cutting the ends off here. I will probably use those later. I'm going to keep them to the side, cut these ends off if I'm trying to make a precise cut. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to make a flat side. I'm going to try to just cut straight down where I've got an easy level playing field there. Now, I'll lay that on the side. Now, so my dimensions on a medium dice are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. And to help you look at that, here's our little model again. This is our 1/2 inch right here. So if you were taking your ruler and going straight across, you're probably somewhere around that right there. So that's my cut I'm going to try to make. So I'm going to visualize how many cuts I'm going to get across. I'm going to square this off again, just get these edges off. Again, I can save that for later. Another possibility. I'm going to save that. Now, my 1/2 inch cuts. This potato's a little bit larger. Again, I'm trying to use a rocket motion. Now I'm going to look at my 1/2 inch. This is another 1/2 inch square right here. I am relatively close. If you took that and looked straight across, I'm not that far off. Maybe a little bit thick. This one right here is about perfect. Kind of hard to see, but there you go. So now I've got my planks. Obviously these are much larger planks than we were in our carrots, right? We're still going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep them to the side. Keep my cutting board area clear. I'm actually going to move this debris out of the way here. Save that for something else. Now I've got to make my 1/2 inches across here. Trying to go for equal sides. Now you might have to split the difference sometimes. At this right here, I'm a little bit wider than I am in thickness, so I'm a little bit off there. When I look at my ruler, I kind of missed my cut there a little bit. I'll try to get a little more precise on this one right here. I think we got a little closer there. You see when I put it right through there, that's almost, it's going straight through that guide. So we're getting better. Again, always pay attention to your claw technique. Cut straight down. This part of the potato is a little bit thinner, so I'm kind of running out of my even pieces, but I'm going to try to guesstimate as best as I can. So that way I've got 1/2 inch. I'm looking for a square piece at this point, which you can kind of see that's where we're at. Now, if I'm going for a dice, if I've done my job correctly, I've got a 1/2 inch on this side. I've got a 1/2 inch on this side. Now I've got to make a 1/2 inch on this side, right? So I'm going to take this. Claw technique is very important here. This is your final cut, so you want this to look good. You want this to look good. So now you can see right here, I've got a cube. All sides are supposed to be in 1/2 inch. If I laid this directly side by side right here, you can tell we're pretty close. We did a pretty good job on that. You can look at it from that side. Well, it's kind of hard to tell. We've done a really good job of matching that up. I'm going to cut the rest of these. I'm going to do a couple at a time. Again, I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm just trying to get nice, even cuts. I'm using my claw technique. I'm not going too fast. We want this precision. Now, if you remember, I asked you in a video earlier, why do you want precision cuts? Why do you want to cut things the same size? Answer to that question is you want them to cook evenly. You can imagine if I had a piece of potato that was this big versus this big versus this one's going to take longer to cook, especially if it was thicker on the outside of it. That is your medium dice, 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch.